Digitalization of industry is today not only an opportunity but also a challenge. Virtues of it are remarkable in terms of productivity, cost optimization, and greater opportunities for conciliation of work and family life. However, digitalization and its proper integration into industry will require to address the challenges that poses in terms of work organization and the adaptation of skills and competencies. However, labor models that we see today in metal industry are largely based in labor practices built for an industry of the past. We observe major changes in markets, such as greater variety of products, smaller runs, or mass customization, etc. All these changes require new industry that we call today Industry 4.0. New technologies condition changes in organization of work, requiring more autonomy in terms of time. We are talking about flexible working time, but also space, flexible workplaces. As physical and organizational constraints are progressively overcome, companies need to be increasingly agile in managing work and human resources. To our understanding, key elements of the change are flexible framework conditions, regulations preserving flexibility possibilities. Also, social partners, governments should commit in preserving the autonomy of social partners and the possibility to find tailor-made solutions that suit their local context. Individuals must also take the responsibility for setting limits, balancing demands and resources, and maintaining and strengthening their qualifications. We have also finally to keep always in mind that there are areas of work that cannot be subject to any additional flexibility. In production departments, for example, working time, work attendance, or shifts will continue to be necessary in the future. These are essential areas of industry and cannot be ignored just because do not offer the same opportunities for flexibility. Digital technology will allow for greater potential for autonomy in working time organization. The growing demand for this greater flexibility in working time is driven both by the companies and the employees. At the company, balance must be created between autonomy of the worker, including flexible working time arrangements, and operational concerns and company needs. This can be best achieved by consensus between the employer and the employee. Increasing working time autonomy also means that employee must take responsibility for complying with the number of working hours set out in their employment contract. However, this digitalization and flexible working time arrangements that allow for greater balance between work and family life, if not managed properly, can lead to an apparent intensification of work. This is a risk that has been verified as a consequence of the implementation of teleworking during the health emergency caused by the COVID-19. Companies understand that the smooth relationship between social partners is essential. Companies should have in mind that digitalization has positive effects, like improving the quality of work, decreasing routines, but also could make emerge new negative impacts, like, for instance, those related to stress motivated both by the extensive use of technologies or the increased isolation of workers. Business organizations must focus on helping companies to understand their role and potential of digitalization, helping them to understand challenges, opportunities, and impacts that might arise. Main strategies of Confemetal are developed taking into account the main challenges faced by the Spanish industry. First, considering the reduced size of the Spanish companies, which in a good number of them implies a lack of sufficient resources to support digital deployments. Barriers to digitalization process in small and medium-sized enterprise are cost, lack of technical knowledge, resistance to change, doubts on security of the process, how to keep up with digital evolution, how to fully exploit the potential of digitalization, or just the difficulty of finding the right technological partner. Therefore, main strategy to face this challenge involve helping them to change their mentality, not only focus on the resulting product, but on the associated services that digitalization process offers them in terms of new business models. Secondly, the lack of qualified human resources is hampering digitalization in Spain. This process must also be driven by new actions in favor of digital skills and digital education and training. In fact, today in Spain, 20% of employees do not receive any kind of digital training. Thirdly, considering the action of companies in the global environment, a true single digital market in the EU is needed. It must be simple, it must be balanced and effective and subject to effective rules, which provides companies with an appropriate regulatory framework. Investment decisions can only be made under acceptable and predictable framework conditions, assuming a level playing field and also appropriate application of best regulation practices. The allocation of appropriate resources plays also a key role, which is particularly important for SMEs. It is finally essential to apply a holistic approach that takes into account all the budgetary needs, but also consider different methods and multiple areas linked to digitalization process. From a business perspective, the qualification of workers is a major challenge of digitalization that requires immediate response. This need of training is only marginally met by the administration. It is therefore necessary to reform in depth vocational training model, allowing greater number of workers to be initiated in digital skills and others already initiated to upgrade their current skills. Lifelong learning is at the core of the digitalization process, being new skills more multidisciplinary as work gets more complex and requires combining several skills, both soft skills and technical ones. The predominance of small companies in our country also requires that specific support actions are considered, based in collective bargaining and with a sectoral approach that guarantees that the training is adapted to the real needs of the company. Implication of all relevant actors in developing essential skills is also necessary, linking training to the labor market and associating it with employment. Attractive and effective vocational training adapted to the needs of companies is needed. Financing is essential to support industry to make this happen. Indeed, social dialogue is fundamental to increase productivity. This recent financial crisis has shown that those countries with stronger social dialogue systems were more successful in dealing with the economy and social challenges that emerged. At Confemetal, we believe that this new scenario, social dialogue and collective bargaining are more necessary than ever to channel technological changes and their impact on employment and labor relations. Collective bargaining has the capacity to promote orientation of training in companies towards new requirements and capacities, understanding and adaptation of workers, flexible working time arrangements compatible with the balanced work and family life, and promoting in that way equal opportunities, also flexible work organization. To develop new work conditions adapted to new business models, it is necessary to reclaim the role of social partners and social and institutional work. Confemetal considers that improving communication of social partners is needed. But it should not only be our task to highlight what we do. It is also the responsibility of the government to dignify the role of social partners and give prestige to a required work that generates benefits far beyond the strict field of work. If one thing seems certain in this global pandemic that we are suffering from, is that a rapid reaction capacity is essential to curb the virus impact. In this sense, there is no doubt that the digitalization of the industry and flexible labor markets allows for faster adaptation. With regard to new models of work organization, it is a reality that teleworking has helped millions of people to keep their jobs and was probably fundamental in ensuring that many activities could keep going. On the other hand, thanks to the rapid adaptation allowed by digitalized and interconnected environments, it has been possible to address rather quickly some of the problems that have arisen. Lack of respirators, manufacturing of masks, screens for workers to go back to their activity in safe conditions, for instance. In other words, industry has been able to adapt quickly to the new needs that have been demanded, regardless many problems that they have to face. With regards to social dialogue, a large number of agreements were reached in Spain, most recently on the 12th of May, being signed by the social agreement on defense of employment, including economical and social measures, but also very many different agreements in very different sectors aimed at implementing new health and safety measures adopted due to COVID-19. It must be said that this allowed companies to restart safely their activities and maintain jobs under the umbrella of the consensus.